Wow, it is so great to see everybody back here. Welcome, welcome to those that are returning, to all the new faces, and especially I'll tell you what's especially very, very sweet and very, very awesome. As I look around the room and I see Ethan Lankry. Yaakov Nadoff wasn't here in 5th grade, but Rafi Stratton and Jacob Weissman, who 4 years ago, which was the first day that I came to the school, those boys were in 5th grade, and they were the little pitzelas. They were the little young kids at the Erev Shabbos program, and now they're 8th graders that we are very, very proud of. It's very, very nice to see them here, and it's very nice to see all the new faces, and the young ones who have joined us, and the ones who have been already for a couple of years that are just moving up the ranks. It's really, really wonderful to see everyone. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of an introduction, okay? So that you know what to expect from this Erev Shabbos program every week. You know not to expect cholent. Although we may talk about cholent, okay? We may talk about the idea of cholent, but cholent we attempted one time. Do you remember 4 years ago? I think it was 4 years ago. Was it 4 years ago, Ravi? Or 3 years ago? Maybe the first year, right? I think we attempted cholent. The Shabbos. It was the Erev Shabbos of Rabbi Jacoby's. Who was born then? What? Chaim Menachem Shalom Zachar. It was the Erev Shabbos of Chaim Menachem Shalom Zachar that we attempted cholent. Ethan, do you remember that? Rafi, do you remember that? That we attempted cholent?
I do.
Jacob, you remember that? We attempted cholent. We actually did have cholent? Okay, so it was that one time. It was that one time. It was almost 3 years ago at this point. Okay, it was December 2019. We attempted cholent, but it didn't work out very well. And the problem is that it was shared with me that most boys would appreciate pizza for lunch instead of cholent, so they don't want to make themselves fleishiks. So, what did you say? Par cholent. Well, I'm saying, what is that?
You did it one time.
It's basically potato kugel. So we have potato kugel. So okay, but you could expect delicious potato kugel almost every week, and this is an opportunity for us to. It's an opportunity for me to spend time with you guys, which I don't get to spend so much time with you the whole week, and it's a way for me to spend time with you guys, and to discuss the parsha and different lessons. We like to focus on practical lessons that we could get from the parsha. Okay? Now, the first question that I ask every week, which some weeks I give out raffle tickets for answers to questions and some weeks I don't, but the first question that I ask every week is, what is this week's parsha? Does he know or do you know? Ethan, what's this week's parsha? Ki Seitzei. Very good. Ki Seitzei. This week's parsha is Ki Seitzei. Or if you're Sephardi, you would say Ki Teitzei. Right? But this week's parsha is Ki Seitzei. Now, very, very interesting parsha, Ki Seitzei. But the most interesting part about this parsha is that the very beginning of the parsha says, Ki Seitzei la milchama. When you go out, and Rabbi Friedman can confirm this, what I seem to understand from the Orach Chaim, lamed with a patach at the beginning of a word means to the. Is that right? Yeah. Good. So ki seitzei la milchama. When you go out to the war. And then it says halachos about what happens when you go out to any battle, to any war. Is there something funny about that, Mendel? It says when you go out to the war. Okay? I am going to the classroom. Do you know where I'm going, Itamar?
No.
Why? Meaning, there's many classrooms. Right? What's the classroom? Right, Eli? Right? If I say I'm going to the classroom, Elnatan. If I say I'm going to the classroom, do you know where I'm going? Where? To the classroom? Where is the classroom? The answer is you don't know where I'm going. Because there's not one classroom. There's many classrooms. So the Torah is telling us halachas about ki seitzei la milchama. When you go out to the war. And the obvious question is, Mendel, what's the obvious question?
Which war?
Which war? Right. Which war? You're going out to the war. Which war? What are you talking about? What's of it?
I think it probably means like the war of like when they were going to go and fight the land of Eretz Yisrael because Hashem was wanting to give the land to
Okay, but so actually it's interesting.
The war.
So actually it's interesting. Rashi proves that actually can't be true. It can't be talking about when you're going to battle the battles to conquer Eretz Yisrael. It can't be true. Okay, Rashi actually proves that. But still, even when they went to battle for the land of Eretz Yisrael, there were many different wars. They had a war against Sichon. They had a war against Og. They had a war against, Midian. They had many wars. What do you mean to say when you say you're going out to the war?
Which war?
You know what the Or Chaim says? The Or Chaim says something amazing. He says, what are you talking about? It's obvious what it means. When you're going out to the war, what's the big war? There's a big war raging all around us. What's the war, Jacob?
Spiritual war.
Which is?
Between the Yetzer Tov and the Yetzer Hara.
Boom. He nailed it on the head. Look at that. He's been here for 4 years. He nailed it on the head. Okay? Or I should say, this is his 4th year of this program. And he nailed it on the head. When you're going out to the war, what's the war? The war is the Great War that's going on, which is the war between the evil inclination and the good inclination. The war between that goes on with every person. Do I do that which is good and right, or do I not? That's the Great War. And when you go out to that war, there's different advice that the Torah has for you about what you should keep in mind when you go out to that war. But I don't want to focus on that right now. What I want to focus on is the first step. What's the first step to winning a battle? The first step. Now, I might say the main idea or the first step many times this year, and the answer is because there's many main ideas and first steps, okay? But perhaps of all the main ideas and first steps, Yaakov, please find a seat. Of all the main ideas and first steps, perhaps this is the most main idea and the most first step. What's the first step to winning a battle, Jordan? To winning a war. And we can't really think about war, so let's think about, let's say, a basketball game, right? A basketball game is like a little battle. It's like a little war between the two teams. What's the first step to winning any battle, any war, any competition? What's the first step, Jordan?
The first step to winning the basketball game is to foul the best player.
No. What's the first step that you could say this applies to every single war, every single battle, any competition? What's the first step, Rafi?
Score.
No.
Right, be good at offense.
But let's say we're talking about a real war, right? What's the first step? Most of it.
You know what you're doing.
Meaning,
That
recognize that you're in a war.
you know how to play basketball.
If someone's sitting on the basketball court, and we had this last year during Color War, people were standing on the soccer field, they did not realize they were playing soccer. Right? Do you remember that, Jacob? Aaron, do you remember that? Okay, Rebbe's going to give an example. Rabbi Freeman's going to give an example, yes.
We had Nagila come to school, and there was a soccer game between myself and Rabbi Nagila.
Very good.
And
You
Rabbi
got
Sharp.
knocked out.
And Rabbi Kramer and Rabbi Sharp had no idea what they were in.
That's right. That's a great example. I didn't realize that I was in a war. I thought I was playing a friendly soccer game. I didn't realize I was in a war. So you know what happened? 3 seconds into the game, I got knocked right onto my backside. Knocked right onto my backside of Rabbi Jacoby. He realized he's in a war. I didn't realize I was in a war. And what happens? If you don't realize that you're in a war, you're done. You lost before you started. Because you're sitting there sleeping. There's a war going on. You're sitting on the soccer field complaining about your friend getting ejected from the game when there's a soccer game going on and the other team is scoring goals. You're distracted. You don't realize what's going on. The first step you need to realize is what's going on. Now, let me ask you a question. Does anyone feel like they are in a war, in a battle, to do that which is good and that which is right? hard to realize. It's hard to feel it. It's hard to feel it. It's hard to realize it. So I want to give you this piece of advice. You ready? What I want you to do is think of anything. Think of anything good. Okay? Sometimes it's not even something you could think of. It's something that comes your way. Okay? And I want you to just pay attention. I'm not telling you that you have to do the right thing. But I want you to at least just pay attention. When something comes up, which is a choice between good and bad, right and wrong, I want you to just observe, recognize how difficult it is to decide that you want to do the right thing. Okay? I had this last night. I came home very late, and I had not yet learned Musar. I didn't learn Musar the whole day. I went through the whole day. I didn't get a chance to sit down and learn Musar. Okay? And I'm walking towards my office. Right? My Mesilas Yesharim is sitting there. I'm going to learn Musar for a few minutes before going to sleep. And then I start thinking, you know what? I should go to sleep. I should go to sleep right now. Then I'll wake up at 5:45 like I've been trying to. And then I'll be able to really learn Musar. And then I'm like, no, come on, that's silly. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, wait a second. I need a cup of seltzer. If I had a cold cup of seltzer, then I'll be able to sit down and learn Musar. And I'm like, come on. You can't get me. I know that trick already. I know to go down to get a cup of seltzer and get distracted with something else and then end up going to sleep without learning Musar. You can't get me on that. And it's like, oh, no. You should go say goodnight to your wife. Just go say goodnight to her. And then you go learn Musar. Whoa. And like 4 or 5 more different ideas popped into my head before learning Musar. It was astounding. Do you realize how hard the Yetzer Hara is pushing? How hard he's fighting? All the different ideas that he's putting into my head to make sure that I cannot go learn Musar for 5 minutes? That's all I wanted, was 5 minutes before I go to sleep. He wouldn't let. He just kept going at it. Oh, no, you really have to go to the bathroom now. Oh, no, but you're so tired. It's not the right thing to do right now. Oh, no, but there's something better to do right now. Oh, no, there's an email you have to respond to. So many different things come up. He wants anything but to sit down and learn Musar for 5 minutes. So that's the first step. And that's something which somebody who wants to, the way that Reb Gershon Ribner says it, I've been listening to a lot over the summer, the way that he says it is to creak out of where you are, which means pull yourself out of the funk. Pull yourself out of the habit and just being resigned to just living day by day the way that your habit pushes you. If you want to pull out of that, if you want to live a happy, good life, where the one who's in charge of you and the one who makes the decisions for you is you, and not the world around you pushing you in that direction, if you want to live that type of life, the first step is to realize how much you're being pushed around. The first step is to realize how much the Yetzer Hara is fighting and battling and pushing and conniving and tricking and twisting and arguing and pandering and doing everything to get you to not do that which is right. Just observe. Then once you observe, I know many of you, once you do observe that, you're competitive enough to not want to let him win. This is something which is a very, very, very big mistake. People say that, kids these days, we want to make sure that everybody wins. We don't want there to be competition. We don't want boys especially who are very competitive. We don't want them to be competitive. We don't want them to have that. No. You need that. You need that competitive spirit. That competitive spirit is what's going to mean the difference between you getting up for the fight or you just going right back to bed and not learning Musar. And not fill in the blank. Not doing whatever it is that the Yetzer Hara does not want you to do. You need that competitive spirit. You need that drive. But the first step is you just have to realize that it's happening. Realize that it's happening. Realize that when you get off the bus, you should just walk straight to the classroom. But there's a ball in the gym that I just want to play with for a second. but there's a friend that I just want to tell him something. But let me stop in the bathroom to see how my hair is. But fill in the blank. Because once you give in and once you allow the Yetzer Hara to gain control, he'll push you to do anything but the right thing to do. The goal is to not let him win and to be competitive and to say, you know what? Me, Rafi, I'm going to be in charge of myself. Me, Tamar, I'm going to be in charge of myself. I'm not going to get pushed around. Me, Eli, I'm going to be in charge of myself. I'm not going to let anyone else push me around. I'm going to do that which I realize is right. And who is going to win and who is going to be the most proud and who's going to be the most happy if you lead a life that way? We don't believe in Hashem is going to be proud of you. It's true, Hashem is going to be proud of you. And if you could really realize that and connect to it, it could enhance your life. But who is going to be the most happy and proud and lead the best life possible? You will. You'll win. Because you're going to be in charge of yourself. And you're not going to get pushed around by anyone around you. We are now going to pick a new 8th grader to be our Bori Nefashos man for this year. Okay? It's hot competition. Okay, Ethan, take it away. Everyone, if you listen carefully without talking and say amen, you will not have to say Bori Nefashos by yourself. Ethan, take it away.